is it you pray for?
Oh, greetings, welcome, salutations, all that jazz. Back to Abyssal Musings. This is episode number 66. We're back on the air after a bit of an absence. So about that, folks, I got sick, like real sick, like this. So this is an experiment tonight to see how well my voice will hold up doing this sort of thing. It kind of how tonight goes kind of dictates how the rest of the weekend's going to go. So we will see how it happens. But that said, my name is Samuel the Infamous. Welcome to the show. With me is my wonderful co-host, Lawrence Knight.
What's going on, you guys?
So we're currently, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was say we are currently streaming live to Rumble, YouTube, and if everything went according to plan, I'm double checking now. Yep, we're also on Twitter.
Yay! So, but yeah, just to piggyback on what everybody said, yeah, poor Samuel, it was pretty bad for him last week, and I just told him like, hey man, you might want to. I hate scrapping on week 2, but he sounded really bad, And tonight it sounds like he's doing a bit better. He's definitely coughing and stuff. Don't he's still going through it, and I am fighting a migraine that I woke up with this morning. So yeah, today's going to be interesting, but we didn't want to go another week without coming on and bringing you guys something. We're not sure how long tonight's program would be, as we're still. I don't want to, we don't want to put tax on Samuel too much, and this migraine that I'm fighting, it's taking some meds, but it's not going away. So we've got some things for you guys. We got some infamous news, of course. A couple of articles, and tonight we kind of we want to continue the whole thing with tracking ghost stories and hearing about these things, and as we ease into the new format, because we're still working out some kinks on it. We wanted to hit things a bit harder with you guys, as far as that goes, but Sam getting sick, and just some other stuff. We're pretty much learning as we go. We definitely hope that you guys like the video we did on DB a few weeks ago. That was definitely a tester case. Big shout out to Anna's Gameland for coming on. You guys don't know, for where she was at, it was very, very early in the morning, and we didn't know until afterwards that she actually, as soon as we got off, she actually had to get up and go to work. So it wasn't even 5 a.m. where she was at. It was earlier than that. And by the time we were done, she had to go to work. We also had Amira, the exiled lioness. She came on and paid us a visit. Yeah, OT, just looking at it, Excedrin works very well until you become immune to it, like me. so only certain things work with me at this point. And
you tried Midol?
Other than that,
You tried Midol?
No. What, believe it or not, works for me is ibuprofen. That's what seems to do the trick. Provided that I catch the migraine early enough. Since I woke up with it this morning, it apparently was, a little late to completely eliminate it, but it definitely, is holding it in check, I should say. But yeah, we've got a bit of a show for you guys tonight. And the little videos we got, they're TikTok videos, but they're definitely, I went through them before we started the show, and there's definitely some creepy stuff on there that gave me food for thought. In fact, there was a couple that said that I actually just turned off. I haven't even watched all the way through, because it one just creeped me out completely. So, but
This
other
is all
than that,
stuff we can show on YouTube, right?
Oh, of course. There was one video. That I wanted. There was one TikTok video that I wanted to show, and I couldn't do it because the guy used copyright music. He used the Halloween theme, and so I was like,
Mm.
"There's no Carpenter. That's pretty much. I'm sure that's a guaranteed no. That's definitely gonna get this channel flagged." So
Man, I'm trying to now I'm trying to remember what that theme actually sounds like. I watched Silent Hill the other. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I was trying to recall the Halloween theme, but I watched Silent Hill again the other day, and it's got a kind of
I
like a
feel like so
similar
too.
like high pitched key to it. That
Mhm.
yeah. Anyway, that's what was coming to mind was the music from Silent Hill.
Which are you talking about? Like the movies or the video game?
The movie, the first one.
I could see. I think they probably drew some inspiration from Halloween. That movie was creepy,
Yeah,
man.
it's in kind of a similar key. The music is, and that's why I was having trouble with that, especially since I just watched it again like last night. So uh,
Yeah. Remember,
I like
remember,
that movie.
remember when Pyramid Head grabbed that girl
Oh
and like
yeah,
ripped her
no,
like opening a coat.
yeah, I just watched that, dude.
I
Yeah,
was like,
it's kind of that stays with you.
well, well, you know what? That didn't stay with me, like, because I watched it in the theaters. That didn't stay with me because I wanted to forget it as soon as possible. What stayed with me was when Alice cringe, when the girl let the demon take over, and
Alice
it had
Creed.
the Alice Krieg, Alice Krieg, cringe. I can't remember her last name.
It's Krieg,
Krieg.
Krige, Krieg.
Okay,
Yeah,
Alice Krieg. But it's when those things grabbed her. You know, when it had like
yeah,
the
the razor wire. Yeah,
yeah, the razor wire grabbed her and then went up the middle of her right between her legs and shred her. I couldn't get that. I couldn't get that out of my head. That
yeah,
was
that was
something I
pretty
did not
hardcore.
want to see.
Yeah,
I was like, man,
that was pretty hardcore. There's a few moments in that movie, like it ain't a perfect movie, and it's certainly not a perfect adaptation or anything like that. But I enjoy it overall. But there are a few moments in it. There's like Jesus Christ, I could have gone my whole life without that being in my head.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I was just like, man, that I was thinking, man, that demon was not playing. That demon was
Yeah,
pissed about something more than something. So let's see.
yeah.
We got over here in the chat. So OT had to leave. Hey, I don't know if you're gonna come back later and see this OT, but even if it was for 30 seconds, man, we appreciate people coming by and saying hello and just spending some time with us, however long that
Yep.
is. What else we got? Richard L.
We got see Kohai. So it's good to see you
Go
guys.
high, go
It
high.
is it is good to see you guys. It's been a kind of a rough couple of weeks not being online. You get you guys if any of you guys ever get to a point where you're doing stuff like this or you're making like actual videos, because God knows I don't do that or anything like that, but you kind of get used to it. You get to rely on the schedule, and it's you miss it when you're not there. So it is good to see you guys. So glad you guys are here with us today to listen to us be invalids and plague ridden and all that good stuff. So
Yeah. So it looks like we only had
Sweet.
a couple of people respond today. Oh, a shadow of Hawk. So Richard L
Well,
wants to know.
Richard, this is Abyssal Musings, so we don't always have panelists on this one. The only other regular panelist for this show is Know Me Without You, and she is at MegaCon in Florida, I believe, right now. So
Yeah, and she actually messaged hours ago. She wanted to let you guys know that she's over there representing the Abyssal Musings.
mhm.
And she wanted you guys to know that she misses you guys, and she can't wait to see you as soon as she gets back. We're probably gonna have some good Know Me stories. Hopefully, she didn't get any bar fights and throw anybody out of the window. But actually, that might be fun. I mean,
Eh,
it's not like I had anything to do with it. So it's like, all right, well, that's on you, Nomitron.
all right,
Don't call
JV,
it a
good to
killer.
see you, man.
Don't call it a killer robot for nothing.
So yeah, I for those of you just coming in, if I sound a little rough, it's because I am still sick, but I am recovered enough, hopefully, to get through this. We'll see. You can hear it in my laugh. It's jacking up all kinds of things. So it is what it is.
Is it really that bad though?
I don't know, man. Shadow, as if I have any pull with Aztec gods. Like that. All I did was tell you his damn name.
This sounds like a conversation.
Yeah, no, we were discussing foreign pantheons a couple of weeks back on Twitter, and Tlaloc's name came up, who is the god of rain and corn and crying.
Okay,
That's
so
his whole shtick. He cries, it rains, and the corn grows.
okay.
Yeah, so he's a bit of a
I
bitch,
mean,
as God's got.
but water drop is hitting everything, including corn. So why just corn?
I don't know. The maize was the staple crop for the Aztecs. That's why. I don't know.
I guess, man. Because I was gonna say, well, maybe some other guys has that all covered. Like I don't know, maybe do they stand in line and draw numbers? Like put their hands in something to pull it out and open it up, and it tells them what they're the god of.
Well, how pantheons with multiple deities go. Like everybody's god is something. Usually gods of multiple things. Even hold on just a second. I mean, even Odin, who is the Allfather and the head of the Aesir, isn't just king of the gods exactly. He's a god of war and of death and of wisdom and of magic and spies, and about a half a dozen other things.
Well, shoot, that's probably why he's the king. He's got the most, the most stuff he got of. Hey, Clifton.
Yeah.
Hey, it's funny. Sidebar. I turn on a well-known and well-respected YouTube channel called Netter's Network, and who do I see pop up? Someone named Clifton 3D. YouTube really is a small world. It amazes me how I'll just go on a random channel. I can go on a random channel and I'll see somebody that we know responding in the comments.
It do be like that sometimes. So, although to be fair, both Clifton and Netter posted that all over Twitter yesterday all day long. So,
Well, I wasn't really paying attention to Twitter yesterday, so I had some other stuff. Yeah, Netter and Troy they are two amazing people. If you guys have never heard of Troy Pacelli, um, and his wife, her channel is called Netter's Network. They're always they stream like crazy. They've always got something going on, but they believe in helping and highlighting small content creators and really getting the word out and helping other people. I've never met more selfless people through YouTube in my life. I mean, really. I mean, I have. I'm sure I have, but these guys are those two are. I have a lot of respect for them, and I wish them nothing but the best. I was on there a few months ago, as you guys know, and yeah, it was definitely.
Andy
I
Pickle.
Oh Lord. Okay, so he's been watching Dreamcatcher. my my I think that's my least favorite Stephen King movie. That movie just grossed me out, man.
Yeah, Dreamcatcher was just a ripoff of The Thing. No,
It's
I'm
ugh.
It's okay. I didn't find it particularly engaging. It was fine for an evening.
I
So
didn't like it at all. I did not like it at all. I couldn't wait to get up out that theater. I was so mad I spent my money on that movie. I got there. I was like, I couldn't wait to get up out of there.
yeah.
But
All
but
right.
yeah.
What do we got?
So I saw this. I still can't believe this. I still can't believe this guy did this, right? So, well, this actually that one didn't make my list. But no, I was laughing at there was a guy that his girlfriend had some kind of exam to take for she was taking an exam for I think some kind of certification she was going to get. And instead of her studying and going and doing it herself, she sends her boyfriend dressed up in drag, put on makeup to make him try to make himself look like her, showed up for class and tried to take the test.
Huh.
Of course, he got caught immediately. I mean, come on, it's like, dude, the broad shoulders and everything. Like it was obvious. It was obvious that was a guy in drag, and then using her name. So I was laughing. I was laughing at that one. But the first one, and I Sam, this one is just for you. And there was two articles on this, but I was like, you know what, the man's not feeling well. So there was two articles on, you know, the subject of not this particular subject, but just in general. I was like, I'm just gonna hit him with one.
Okay.
What happened? Movie. Let's see. Oh, okay. So that's on the two guys that died. But yeah, so apparently, there you go, Sam. So apparently, somebody went to the movies, and I guess it was in Scotland or a Scottish tourist. No, they weren't. The tourist, the Scottish. Well, I'm tripping over my words. So of course, this person wasn't, in Scotland. Um, but they went to see a movie, and a couple, as you can see, because this looks like it's the guy's foot, but apparently the woman had done it too. But they took their shoes off and kicked their bare feet on top of the seats and was rubbing them on the armrest, right? So so of course he gets mad. He's like, and he's like, hey, if this is Glasgow, somebody would have thrown a bottle of Coke, stolen the iPhone at the back of his head before his foot had left his shoe. It's just cultural difference. So I would say this. This is not, believe it or not, folks, this is not unusual. I myself have experienced this. The difference is for me, it was worse because this person saw them doing it. In my case, I was with some friends and we were watching X-Men 2. I want to say it was X-Men 2. Two things happened that night in that theater room. Some guys got thrown out for a disruption, and we were it was four of us. And me and one of the other guys were sitting there and watching the movie, and all of a sudden I just smelled some. I can't even describe what it was. It was the worst. It was like a mix of vinegar and mayonnaise. That's the closest I could describe. And we're looking at each other like, did you go grab, did you grab some outdated mustard packets or something to put on your, put in your hot dog? We're looking at each other like we're like looking at each other. I was like, what the hell are you looking at me for? So we're looking at each other. We look at the movie. We smell it again. We look at each other again. And then we look down and we see this little foot sitting on our armrest. There was a couple behind us out on the date. The girl had took her flip flop off and put her foot on our armrest.
Oh man, that's when you get the lighter out and you start tickling her toes with a flame.
Oh, bro, we were pissed. We were pissed. So my friend, being as direct as he is, he turns around, right, and he goes, and this is a quote because I know I was shocked he said this. He goes, "Excuse me, miss," and she goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Can you please get your stinking ass foot off our armrest?" And so of course the guy's with her. He sits up now. So now, my friend's short. So of course he's gonna try to defend his girl, and he leans in to start running his mouth, and all four of us just turned and just looked at him, just sat back on the sat back in our seats, and we just looked at him. And he sat back in his chair and shut his mouth. So yeah, I would say this, unfortunately, this is not it's not unnatural. I've seen it many a times, especially with teenagers. Only difference is teenagers usually have the
Gotcha.
sense they leave their shoes on. But yeah, good night, Shadow. Don't be at the movies doing this. And but yeah, it's just that's just that it's unfortunately it's not. Now this is something that I normally see. It's never been on me. It's usually like in the front when they have like the little guardrail going across. I'll see people do that, and that's fine. But this, mm-mm. Or I had this elderly couple talking and smacking right behind me, and I don't know how, but their damn popcorn was hitting me upside the head. I just turned around, just looked, like, because they're old, so I didn't want to start yelling at them. But but yeah, unfortunately, that's something that's common. But I just thought that was disgusting. At the same time, I was like, Sam hates feet, so
I do. I hate them. Feet are not good. Feet are gross. Uh, I'm a big guy, right? I'm not a small man. I'm not particularly like thick, but I'm very tall, and with that comes a certain amount of discomfort pretty much anywhere because they don't make things for anyone who isn't a midget in this world. Uh, so it's hard enough to find a comfortable place to sit in a theater without some asshole putting their foot up next to my head. I would not handle that well any more than I handle like people trying to stretch their knees into my back. I push back because I'm like, "Fuck you, dude." you know, there's only so much space here, and you're encroaching upon my designated space. You know, so I mean, I'm one of those guys. Like, I have to actually have my knees fairly spread apart when I sit in the movie theater because otherwise my knees will be jamming into someone else's back. I kind of got to situate in between the two seats in front of me.
Mhm.
So uh, that kind of rudeness, I would not handle that well. I would there would be some shoving and some yelling and maybe some fire.
Well, you know what?
And
That's why. And I'm going to the movies tomorrow. In fact, I'm gonna go see. My buddy and I we're gonna go see Argyle. Um, so uh,
good luck.
I yeah, I'm very specific about the seats that I pick. And one of my friends were like, "Man, why you always pick over here? Why don't you, pick up, pick the seats that are, a little bit higher up in the middle and all that stuff?" And I said two reasons. I said, one, when I'm ready to leave, I don't want to have to wait for other people to get up because not everybody gets up as soon as the credits start rolling. Some people will sit there until they turn the lights on, and the crew tells them to, walks in and actually has to tell them to get out so that they can clean, before the next showing. So when it's over, unless it's like a Marvel movie or something where I know chances are there's, an after scene. But
Oh man, I'm one of those guys who stays the whole way through, and it ain't just because there's like stingers on everything now. When I was a kid, it's one of the things my dad instilled in me is that all these people's names that you see in the credits, all of them helped make this movie. And so we stayed to watch credits as a sign of respect for the person who provided the entertainment for us. I mean, we didn't stay after the credits were done, we got up and walked out. But these days, you go into a theater, and the second the credits start rolling, the ushers come in and start staring at you like, why the hell are you still here? Which I find
really,
equally rude.
I've seen
Yeah.
I've seen ushers come in, but I've never seen them stare at us. Like they'll come in and just, they'll stay like at the wall. like towards the
Yeah.
exit, but they don't look at us. They would just kind of look at the credits and wait. They don't, you know, they don't come at anybody and
Yeah,
kind of.
and I tend to go to matinees and whatever, and I get they've only got so long to clean between showings, but at the same time, I'm paid to see a movie. I'm gonna see it beginning to end. That includes the credits, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely understand. I definitely understand that.
Yeah. So yes, Clue, I am alive, although how alive is up for debate.
What's left of him, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so this next one, we've been over the past year, we've been sharing a lot of airline stories, and I just thought it was interesting seeing this article. When you have a flight attendant who's been on planes for 25 years, and God bless this person, because 25 years, how many flights have you been on? How many scares, has this person had? And for them to stick it out, this long, that's saying a lot. So when I saw this, it's like, okay, well, I don't see how you could squeeze 25 years into a 58-second video, but there's an article to go along with it. So I can always go back down there. So let's see. So in a Reddit AMA, veteran flight attendant revealed the worst parts of flying the friendly skies for a living. Oh, okay. Sorry guys, there's music on here, so I didn't want to it's a channel. So being gone 3 days at a time, not being paid for lots of things you do during the day, mean passengers. Well, I mean,
Wait. What's this not being paid for lots of things you do during the day? If you're doing those things in the course of your job, you should be getting compensated for those as part of your job.
yeah, salute Clue.
That's
Well,
what the
in
hell does
that
that statement even mean?
that's why I was kind of glossing over it. I was like, okay, this isn't anything crazy. This is just a complaint. So you're already, the duties that you're carrying on, that's in your contract. That's what you agree to get paid to do. So now you're doing. So what do you want? You want a tip from these people? Okay, here's a tip. Go find another job if you want to make more money.
Like the other two
Mean,
things that are mentioned here, I get, being gone 3 days at a time. I understand that. That's, mean passengers. I get that too. That makes sense. But this like not being paid. If you have the uniform on and you're working, you're getting paid.
mm-hmm.
Like not everything needs a goddamn tip.
Well, if you remember a few weeks, well, not a few weeks back, a few months back, when I showed that video of that guy and that girl, they were in the bathroom, they were in the laboratory, and they were, getting it on, and they had just met. They didn't even know each other. They were sitting next to each other. Well, he gave her more than a tip.
That's not the same thing.
Well, I mean, the airline stewardess that caught them, I mean, she could have got the tip too.
Again, not the same thing. I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna stand there with your hand out every time you hand somebody a fucking breath mint, right? You shouldn't. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It's like the airline's already paying you. I don't see why I should have to either. I mean, that should be included in the cost of the airfare.
It probably is.
Oh.
It probably is. As far as being gone 3 days at a time, they're like, come on, there's other professionals out there, especially people in sports that are gone longer than that. So it's like, come on, that's part of the job. You chose that. Let's see what the next one is. He said his worst celebrity encounter was America's sweetheart, Julia Roberts, whom he called not nice at all. Well, people usually
That
aren't
doesn't
when they have.
surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah, odds are she probably gets accosted by everybody and their dog all day long, wanting
Exactly.
autographs and all that shit. So yeah, and some people, especially after years of that, don't handle that particularly well, and I get that. Some people are just dicks though too. Like she might
Mhm.
be. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
You know.
and also too, how good of a mood are you in going to the airport by the time you get on the plane? I know by the time I get on the
Uh,
plane, all I want to do is shut my eyes and take a nap because of all the stuff I just went through just to get on the freaking plane. Not to mention,
yeah.
and the last flight that I was on, when I left, when I moved, uh, there was this old Asian guy getting pissed off at people for slamming their luggage into his in the overhead carriage, bin. He was like literally yelling at people, "Don't do that! Stop! Be gentle!" I mean, this guy was. I mean, I had my phone ready because the first thing I was thinking is this is going on Abyssal Musings. Because it's one thing to bring up an article, it's the other thing for me to be sitting on the plane, watching somebody explode. Because we hadn't even. I mean, we just got on the plane. And I was like, bro, you're gonna get kicked off this flight because he was raising his voice, and then and one of the stewardesses actually what stopped him was one of the stewardesses stepped in and she reshuffled his bag and put it you know put it not sideways like he had it but kind of towards the front and then kind of moved on because it's like, look, man, you know you brought this luggage, whatever you've got. You have to understand people are, they trying to get on the plane. We're trying to leave. And so maybe you should have whatever you got in there should have been sturdier, so you'd be flipping out the way you were. But I was laughing, and my stuff was in that overhead bin too. And I was like, "Dude, you slammed your stuff into mine. So what are you upset for?" Um, let's see. As for the
Real
absolute
quick
worst
before we
thing,
go,
hmm?
real quick before we go too much further, Annie Pickle says, best celeb story was DeVito wanted a cigar, so asked. They said if every passenger said okay, everyone said okay, but one guy was asleep. Woke him and asked. Guy said only if you give me one too.
Nice. Okay. I would have said no because I'm like, bro, I don't want to be on a plane breathing cigar smoke for who knows how long, unless they've got a way to filter that out.
Man, you're already breathing farts. It's not that much worse.
I mean, it's dissipating methane. It's not carcinogens that are, hanging around a
It's a
little bit longer.
pressurized tube. Nothing's getting out.
I mean, they might have a filtration system that pushes it out safely. You never know. Let's see. That's the worst thing a passenger could do: fighting, pooping, and pissing in their seat. Well, we've seen all three of those in prior infamous news reports that we've covered. Mid-air messes may not be all that uncommon as revealed in another Reddit post. Yeah, I read this a few weeks ago. There was a flight in another country where some some um some flyers, they got reimbursed because when they got on, somebody had pissed in their seats and I think they were on like a 6-hour flight and they had to sit in it.
Gross.
Yeah, like the crew like put down like they try to put down pads and stuff to absorb as much of it as they could, but the passengers had to sit in it. I was like,
Yeah. I'd say the airline owes me a new pair of pants.
yeah. Let's see what else. Peed myself on a plane in front of everybody. Oh, I've had a scare too where I've woken up and slept on a plane, woke up and really had to go, and the bathrooms were taken, and I was like, oh man, if they don't get out, you know, somebody's gonna have to give me a bottle or something. Let's see. The accident occurred while her seat during the landing, while the seatbelt sign was on. I was stupid and accepted it. Oh wow, poor thing. Yeah, because you can't get up.
Yeah.
She might accept it, but no one else does. That's messed up. Let's see. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
I've only been on a commercial flight a few times when I was a kid, but I don't remember having any real issues. I mean, I got airsick once, but that was about it. You know, and if I remember right, though, I did puke on a lady in the next seat. To be fair, I was like 4. But yeah, that was the whole thing. All the other flights I've been on have been like small, you know, four person seat, you know, 4-person planes kind of thing.
Oh, well. Now those I'm scared to get on, man, because every time you hear about a plane accident, a lot of times it's those little small private planes. Like, hey, I'm good. I'm good on that, man. But yeah, and
that is a Paxton joke from Predator 2. Doc said I needed stool, urine, and semen samples from you. Geez, Doc, can I just leave you my underwear?
I mean, it makes sense. Here's the next one. Here's the next one. For any of you ladies out there, in fact, for everybody. Matter of fact, I'll say this. It's to the ladies. This is for the men. If you've got a loved one that you want to propose to, and you're thinking about a creative way to do it, this guy is lucky that man stages gunpoint robbery to propose to girlfriend in wild video. So this guy,
our 30,000 bright.
But this guy was in his car, had his girlfriend with him, right? And they're stopped at a light, and it's in Colombia. And all of a sudden, a bunch of guys with bikes come pulling up on her. They yank the lady out, and they tell the guy to get out. It scares this woman half to death, right? And the guy turns and proposes to her. Hold on, here it is. Here we go. This is something you would do, Sam. Actually, I think Clue would do this.
Aleito, no me vas a salir, no me vas a correr. Bájate, 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 pues. Te bajas, te bajas. Vení. Ven ahí. Venga. Dale para casa. Venga. Dale para casa.
Now I have to wonder, where is the police in all this? I mean, I understand it's Colombia.
Faked, basically, right? It was faked, basically, right?
Yeah, but nobody knew it except for the guy that was proposing and the people that are in it. The cops didn't know about it.
Well, I mean, they're Colombian cops. What do you want?
So I'll pause it for the music. Look at she's so beside herself and she was scared to death.
No, I can't marry you. I just soil my drawers.
You know what? And that's the other thing too. That's the risk. Yeah, Andy's right. They probably were paid off. I mean, I would hope that they were notified. Hey, I'm going to do this. That was crazy.
Oh no, man! Colombia is crooked as shit, man. You don't notify the cops of fuck all. Not unless you're prepared to bribe them through the nose, you know.
Well, he might
yeah,
have.
no, yeah, no, that's that, but that's not a country where the less police involvement, the better. No,
Sounds like you've
I
got
don't know
some
what
story.
from Colombia. No, I just pay attention to that country.
So you're just a
Most of
local
South America,
Casanova,
actually.
then. You're just a local Casanova.
What's that got to do with the cops in Colombia?
Well, I figure you were. I figure you were. You took your philandering internationally. That you know that maybe you'd kind of
No,
travel to
man,
some
bitches
other
come to
countries.
me.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
No, I ain't been doing much of that lately anyway. I've just been fucking sick. Nobody wants to make love to an eldritch entity who can't keep his lungs in his chest.
Or well, I guess so. I mean, I can imagine it's hard to keep your tentacles erect when you're coughing up your lungs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a fun fact about being an eldritch dude. When you're coughing up your lungs, sometimes it's a literal expression.
Yeah, you were hurling hard last week. I was like, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, sometimes that cough comes with a prize, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'll bet. And all last week, I'm thinking, I'm glad it's not me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. All right, guys. So now we're gonna start with the first story. Now this one, not first story, but this one is not a. It's actually a stand-up. It's actually a stand-up bit that I wanted to use as an intro into this, and I thought that you guys would think this was funny. Let's play it again. Ready? Here we go.
Seen a ghost? Under what circumstance?
Yeah, it was a boy. It
was a little boy. I'm invested.
Okay, so hopefully that's not what. I don't think he thought about what he was
saying. This is Matt Rife, by the way, for those of you who don't know.
Yeah.
What have you seen at the house?
I saw a boy and a girl and a man.
A girl, a boy, and a man. Some people will call that a family.
Well, I guess almost a family, right? I mean, I guess it's a family, but it could be.
Were they related to you? Yeah, where do you live? What part of town is this? Western Shawnee? Oh, Kansas? That checks out. Those were actually just Amish. They weren't even really ghosts. Those were just people just trying to deliver some furniture. The Amish are the IKEA of the Midwest. They really are.
You know what? I kind of want to say that's a true statement. And that's the other thing. I'll sidebar about the Amish. It wasn't until I was running around in Ohio, and I thought the Amish stayed away from everything. Anything that was modern. These dudes showed up at the water park, jumped in the water with a full Amish clothes on, shoes and all.
Depends on the specific sect. Some adhere a little more strictly and some don't. Also, those might have been how old were these particular Amish? Because if they were young people, they were probably on Rumspringa, which is a whole other thing.
Yeah, they were young, but they were definitely Amish because you could see them. I mean, you see them everywhere.
Yeah.
When you get out of the main city. But yeah, I was just like, oh shoot, okay, well, you guys could at least took your shoes off. I mean, I'm talking about their boots where they're walking everywhere. And I was just looking at the water park staff, and I was like, really? You gonna let them get in the water with those boots on? I was like, okay.
Western Shawnee, you say? That's crazy. You never really hear of ghosts in trailer parks, do you?
So I thought that would be a nice, good intro.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it sounds to me like the Amish you were talking about were probably on Rumspringa, in which case they've never been in a pool before. The whole deal with that is that they're allowed for a set period of time when they hit like 18, 19 years old to go out and experience what they call the English world, which is everywhere outside of their communities. And at the end of that Rumspringa, that designated time, they have a choice to make whether to stay in the English world and be shunned by their family but experience the wider world, or to give up the wider world and go back to their families and remain there for the rest of their lives.
That's messed up. Because think about it. Without the support of your family and they're Amish, right? What services are
Yeah.
they going to get to live in the real world?
Well, keep in mind too that you're talking about a group of people who trains their children from youth to be good homemakers, craftsmen, repairmen, carpentry. Like they have skills. It's not like they're going out unskilled.
But do they know where to? Do they know where to go to?
No,
even
of course
to
not. But how many of our kids, when we send them out at 18, 19 years old, have any fucking idea what they're doing?
They have a better understanding of the world. Well, I guess I see what you're saying. If they've been allowed to constantly, go out there and kind of find stuff out. So I guess by the time that they make that decision, they know where to go and they know who to talk to get themselves advertised out there. Me personally, I don't know what I would have done. I don't know what I would have done because, I mean, you're making your way in the world alone. I guess if there was like others my age and they made the same choice, like if it was a group of us, then I would probably go. But if it was just me alone, I'd be like,
yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, if they enter the, as they call it, the English world, they're essentially turning their back on everything their family believes, and are therefore, in the eyes of their parents and such, turning their back on them. And so they do the shunning thing. It's not that they don't still love their parents, but their religion forbids them from interacting with them anymore, because now their children are of the world and in the world and not of their community anymore. I mean, there's some harshness to it, yeah, but you got to keep in mind these guys have been practicing the same religious beliefs for 500 years in this country. They haven't changed one bit.
Well, well, they're letting them experience the outside world, so something must have happened for them to start doing that. Maybe some of the Amish were just like, "F this, I'm gone."
Well, no, it's a rite of passage. You get to a certain age and you are presented with the choice to maintain the lifestyle of your ancestors or to go build yourself a life elsewhere. Like all children at a certain point are presented with that choice. It's just not usually put in terms that are that stark. But essentially, yeah, that's the choice we give all of our children. Go out there and make something of yourself if you can, or stay here and be part of the community that we built up. And that's actually kind of been to their detriment, because it's not like these Amish communities like grow.
Right, for real.
And part of that is because they lose about a third of their children to that. About a third of their children choose not to come back, which is heartbreaking, but it's like, I kind of get it too, but I can respect the fact that they give them that choice.
Right.
So.
Okay. All right, next one. So this is a quick one. I don't think this is a haunting versus, somebody, them just somebody doing a video and just playing a trick. But I just thought it was, good intro.
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Oh.
I didn't expect the doll at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I paused it because I mean, I took it down because I think that's a copyrighted song. Um, so here's another one. Now this one, apparently there's a few TikTokers that this is what they do. You know, they call themselves, you know, I guess they're a haunted. Well, this girl calls herself the haunted detective. I guess Kelsey C. But I thought that this one was pretty cool. See what you think.
There is a mummy in Sicily that blinks. Yes, she blinks. This is Rosalie Lombardo, who died of pneumonia in the 1920s at the age of 2 years old. Rosalie is perfectly
Oh, by the way, Sam,
I
fair use.
don't need to see
Fair
dead
use.
kids. I'm just saying.
preserved from her external features to her internal organs, but that's not the strangest part. Her eyes are still as blue and flawless as the day that she passed away. She simply looks like a child taking a nap. But this child tends to open her eyes and close them randomly, like
I have my suspicions, but I'm not sure it's in good taste to say. I'm almost wondering, did somebody do something with that body, you know, to create a tourist attraction?
Oh, probably.
like
Which is morbid as shit because it's a kid's body.
Yeah, exactly.
webs. People have come to see her for hundreds of years, and every time visitors will leave and say, "That dead girl is blinking." What do you think it is?
I think somebody rigged the eyes to do what they were doing.
She did say hundreds of years, right? People
Yeah, I
wouldn't look
think
that closely at any kind of mechanisms back in the day, and now it'd be too creepy to fucking examine it.
Well, if that's
So,
really going on, that is creepy.
hey now, hey now.
Hey Andy, funny you mentioned funny you mentioned Ghostbusters. Because definitely think about that. So here is the next one. And so I started pulling some of these because these are ghosts and creatures and entities of folklore. And I know we went over this a few months ago, but I want to start really going in depth with some of these. I'm glad I kept that map, um, so that it gives us plenty of material, more than a year's worth. I mean, well, about a year's worth if you think about it. Um, but this one, so I've never heard of La Sayona. Never heard of this one. Have you ever heard of La Sayona? La Sayona?
Sayona. Not off the top of my head, no. I might
Well, me
know the
neither.
story, but I don't know the name.
Well, we'll see.
The legend of La Sayona originated in Venezuela and tells the tale of a vengeful spirit who appears to men who have affairs. One night, a man who was obsessed with her lied to her and told her that
What?
I said, oh yeah. Again, not familiar with the name, but the concept. Yeah, it's spurred lover kind of stuff.
her husband was having an affair with her own mother. Blind with anger, she burned down the house with her husband and baby inside and ran to her mother's house immediately after. She attacked her, and as her mother bled to death, she cursed her, telling her that she would now have to avenge women by killing their unfaithful husbands. The legend claims that when her spirit appears, she'll ask for a cigarette or for a ride home, and anyone who gives in to her temptation will suffer the consequences.
So this is a variation on the woman in white, which is a theme you can find with hauntings across the world. La Llorona is such a variation. The Resurrection Mary, I think, is a variation of this. But yeah, that's what it is. It's a variation on the theme of the woman in white story, which you find all over the place. So, but yeah,
Well,
essentially, Clifton, don't stop for strange women at night. It's not a good idea.
yeah, for real. So here's what made here because I thought about that too, and I was like, of course, we've all heard these stories in different cultures and different areas of the world. So it makes me wonder, okay, are these the same spirits that are traveling to different places? Where it's one
Probably
spirit
not.
that you don't think so?
No, I just think that it's a common occurrence in terms of this kind of thing happening. Yeah, I just think that as these particular types of ghosts go, they're relatively common.
Well, I can't really argue with that because I mean, shoot, if you remember the presentation I did when I went on that ghost tour, and the guy was showing me the tour guide was showing us video. He was showing us photos of videos that were taken on prior, photos that were taken by people who had participated in prior tours. There was one that looked like the girl from The Ring, like it was dressed in white, long hair. You couldn't see his face. Um, it was flying around in that same cemetery that I was in, and I had to admit I was skeptical and I was kind of laughing at it. I was like, yeah, right, dude. Until until I got a photo of my own. Um, so still don't know what I caught, but yeah, that was flipping creepy. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do right by my wife. When she when the time is right, I'm gonna send her by herself to go over there and let her go through it.
Mhm.
So here's the next one. Now, some of the things in here that I threw in are not just stories about, just folklore stories. Some of these are that I pulled. They were uh, crazy things that the police experienced. Um, some things kids have said to adults. Uh, so there was definitely some. This is where things starts picking up and really starts getting interesting. Wait, before we do it, Andy says,
I just brought that up.
"Oh, you just brought it up." Okay.
Yeah.
Scariest things police have seen. Part 40.
By the way, this is how you know that the music we're hearing is not copyrighted, because this guy's using it and that a lady's using it, so I can tell it's it's not copyrighted.
2. This story was sent to me by a police officer in California who wished to be anonymous. On June 17th, 2002, an air tanker crashed near Walker, California, while on a firefighting mission. The crash was even caught on camera. An officer saw the crash and ran to it. While running through the forest, he came upon 3 men in flight suits who seemed dazed and confused. He asked them if they saw the crash, but they wouldn't respond to him. Since they weren't helpful, he continued on. When he got to the crash site, he found that all passengers on board were killed. There were 3 men on board that plane. The officer went back to where he saw the men in the forest, but he couldn't find them anywhere. No one else who responded to the crash site had seen them. The officer then realized that the 3 men he saw in the forest were the spirits of the crew members that died that day.
That's trippy.
Yeah. I suppose. Now he saw. Did he see these spirits? I think I missed something there. Did he see them in the forest prior to the crash?
No, he saw them after the crash.
Okay, after
The crash.
Okay,
The
that
crash
makes more sense.
happened. Yeah, the crash happened. The cop went running towards the crash. He came upon the spirits of the 3 men. Only he didn't know that's what they were, and they were dazed and confused. So they probably, didn't even know they were dead. And
Right.
he gets over there, and bam, there's their bodies. So, yeah, that one was a.
Yeah, no, that makes more sense than what I was thinking. For some reason, I was thinking he saw them in the forest and then saw the plane crash, and I'm like, oh, well, that's
kind of weird.
Like,
Here's another one. I
was like, if their spirits are wandering down in the woods, no wonder the plane crashed. Nobody was flying the damn thing.
Yeah, and that would be weird in itself that all 3 of them died on the plane before it crashed.
Part 46. This was sent to me by a nephew of a trucker who had an encounter with a police officer.
Oh, I gotta restart. I gotta laugh at that one. Probably was DB Cooper. Shoot.
Scariest things police have seen. Part 46. This was sent to me by a nephew of a trucker who had an encounter with a police officer. This trucker was driving on Highway 152 in California. He got pulled over by a highway patrol officer. It was odd, though, because the police vehicle looked like an older 80s model unit. The officer gave him a ticket and left. Later on, the trucker went to the courthouse to fight the ticket. The judge looked at the ticket, got up and asked, "Do you think this is a joke?" The trucker said, "Why?" The judge told him that the officer's name and ID number used on the ticket belonged to an officer that had died on that freeway almost 40 years earlier.
Huh. So that's Big Marge all over again.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing too, is that the story that I didn't want to play because it has the Halloween, the John Carpenter theme on it. There was a cop that pulled a guy over, and a female cop showed up, and he hadn't called for backup. And sometimes that happens, you know. I did a ride along, and sometimes the cops will just, you know, they'll come along, they'll see something going on, they'll just pull over anyway. So he's talking to the guys, getting his ID and everything. The female cop walks up to him and says, "Hey, he's got a gun in the back seat." So he walks back, interrogates the guy, arrests him. Sure enough, there's a gun in the back seat. The cop turns around to say something to the female cop. She's gone. He comes to find out they tracked the gun back and tracked the guy. The guy was wanted for murdering a female police officer a few years prior. So apparently the female cop was probably, you know, haunting him. You know, she was the ghost of the cop he killed.
Yeah, most likely. You know, or a death echo or something like that. Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. Death echoes are like one of the more common things out there, but they're not like really spirits exactly. They're sort of just psychic impressions left behind by an event. That's why they tend to loop on repeat. It's because it's not really it's sort of like
it's not really a full spirit.
Sort of
It's just a
well, it's not a spirit at all. It's just an impression left behind by an event. Yeah.
Right.
But it, you know, it tends to be replaying events over and over again, and that people tend to, you know, think, "Oh, well, there's a ghost there," and when in fact it's really just the echo of something that had happened.
Yeah. Andy's not a believer. I mean, hey, Andy, I'm definitely not going to argue with you there, man. I mean, we're not saying that these people are absolutely telling the truth. But
I've seen some weird shit in my time too. So
yeah, I experienced some stuff, man, and I was just like, oh, okay. You know, so I can't say it doesn't happen because I've had a few issues. I've had a few things happen. Well, you're watching one right now, man. I mean, not me, but you know, one just spoke.
You know, that actually reminds me of something I wanted to bring up just briefly. So the other day there was a discussion about cosmic horror, which is, as most of you know, one of my favorite subjects. Shit, let me find where I stashed that thing. And in it, somebody had left me the most perfect description of what cosmic horror is, you know, which is hard enough to define, right? So here goes. Cosmic horror, as Lovecraft designed it, can best be described as: imagine you were an ant. You have a simple, uncomplicated existence. Now imagine you are suddenly granted the awareness of your world as a human sees it, infinitely larger than you can comprehend, with knowledge that you shouldn't have. And now you are just an ant again, but you can't stop thinking about what you saw, and it drives you mad. Anyway, that's it. That's the whole thing.
Okay.
I think it's an excellent description of what that's supposed to be.
All right. That, you know, actually, I like that. That's a perfect way to explain cosmic horror, you know, and I would even dare say, well, I guess maybe that's going back because an ant has some kind of consciousness, but on a scale of the possibility of cosmic horror, are you just like an atom? You know what I mean?
Essentially,
Atom
yes.
just existing.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially.
That definitely leaves.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I like that it puts it really into perspective, because like it's very hard to put yourself in a position where you're able to connect with the characters in, for instance, Lovecraft's work, where they're exposed to things that are far, far beyond what we were ever meant to perceive, but they still have to find some way to correlate that with their feeble mortal minds, right?
Mhm.
And it marks you forever, kind of thing. And I think this was a pretty good way to kind of package that up in a neat little paragraph.
Yeah. And it works. Okay, so on to this next one. I'm sure you've heard of this one.
The tale of La Llorona originated in Mexico and is also sometimes called the Weeping Woman. The story tells of a beautiful young woman who met a wealthy nobleman, fell in love with him, and eventually they married and had 2 twin boys. As years passed, her husband grew cold and distant, only showing affection to their children until eventually he left her and married another woman. Completely shocked and humiliated, she took her 2 boys down to the river and drowned them without a second thought. Once she realized what she had done, she drowned herself in the river as well, in hopes that she would be reunited with her children in the afterlife. However, because she had done something so terrible, her spirit was forced to roam the earth, constantly searching for her children. People claim to see her by the river at night, crying and pleading for her children to come to her. It is said that if her spirit approaches a child, she will confuse them for her own and sink them into the river as well once she realizes they are not hers.
Okay. Now,
I've heard a little differently, whereas she doesn't necessarily discover that they're not her kids, but that they are, she just assumes that they are her kids and drowns them all over again.
that's what I've heard.
Mhm.
Now, for those of you who may not know, our very own Nomi apparently had an encounter with La Llorona. What did she say? Maybe maybe 5 months ago. She said she was driving and she saw a lady. She saw someone dressed like La Llorona, like the spirit, and because she was passing a river, and she said she turned around and went the other way.
Yeah. Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, heck yeah, I would. You're in a car by yourself. You know me in a car by yourself. It's after midnight. You're driving past a river, and there's a woman with long hair dressed in white standing by the river, walking
Look,
towards
I'm fast approaching middle age, but I'm still a firstborn son. I ain't fucking with that.
you. What does she snatch firstborn sons too?
It just depends on the story, but yeah, you don't mess around with the women in white. You just don't. You just don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't
Well, I'm
pick
glad
up hitchhikers in the middle of the night. If you hear somebody crying in a cemetery, walk the other fucking direction. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I'm a firstborn son too, so I'm glad you told me that. I didn't know that it was specific against. I didn't know it was specific against us. Next one.
Happy first day of Inktober, besties! It feels so good to be back, and we're starting this year's series off with the story of the Lady in Black. Lady in Black is a tale that originated in Boston, Massachusetts, specifically in Fort Warren, which was used as a training camp and a prison during the Civil War. Ghost is believed to be the spirit of Melanie Lanier, whose husband was a soldier imprisoned at Fort Warren, and Melanie came up with a plan to free him. Disguised as a man, she hoisted her body over the prison walls using a rope, reuniting with her husband. Using a pickaxe, she began tunneling out of the prison underneath the thick stone walls, followed by her husband and several other prisoners. Because the digging was so loud, the guards eventually heard them, and a fight broke out between the guards and the prisoners. During this, a guard tried grabbing a pistol Melanie was carrying on her, accidentally striking her husband during the scuffle. Melanie was arrested for trying to aid her husband in escaping and was sentenced to death by hanging. Still disguised as a man, she requested to change into women's clothing, and the guards found a simple black gown to clothe her in her last moments. Her restless spirit is said to roam Fort Warren, mourning the loss of her husband and holding the guilt and frustration of her failed attempt to free him.
How many times have we seen that today? Only not with a husband, but it's usually a female prison guard. Freeing an inmate. Didn't a lady just died, just got shot and died? What was it, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
She and a guy got caught, and she got shot in the head.
I guess I don't know, man. Why in the hell they're putting the screws of the opposite sex in charge of prisons? That doesn't make any sense to me. Why they would do that in the fucking first place? They have to know this shit's gonna happen.
they can't title. Was it not title? There's federal laws that prevent them from discriminating like that based off of sex. So they can't
Yeah,
just
but
not hire. They can't just not hire them.
they can hire them for women's prisons, just like they shouldn't be hiring male guards for women's prisons either. By the way, same problem. Like there's. I get the no discriminatory shit. Whatever. But there are reasons that certain discriminations should be made. Good reasons.
True.
So you just, yeah, I don't know. That'd be like,
I've heard more women doing stuff in men's women guards doing stuff in men's prison than, and I'm not saying that that male prison guards don't do anything with women. Maybe they're just better at not getting caught, or keeping their emotions in check, But these girls are destroying their.
Yeah, I hate to put it like this, but they don't do a psych eval for prison guards. They should. They don't, and they don't do it, and they absolutely don't do them with women.
Yeah.
Hi, Wade.
What's up, Wade? All right, next one. So you guys, I'm sure everybody either love or hate Disneyland at this point. Most leaning towards hate, but Disneyland itself is not without its fair share of ghost stories, and general myths. So, but this is one of them.
Normal Disneyland Stories Part 2. This one even has video surveillance. One park guest went to ride Space Mountain by himself. He started making conversation with a red-headed stranger in line next to him. The man was nice, but appeared a little off because he wasn't really up to date with some of the recent changes Disneyland had made. They were seated on the ride next to each other, and the roller coaster started. The park guests enjoyed the ride, but at the end when the lights flashed, the red-headed man disappeared. He spoke with a cast member about it, and they told him he was the only one in that row. That guest might have just had an encounter with a ghost nicknamed Mr. One Way. People say he interacts with guests in the line, rides with single riders, and even has appearances in the cast locker room. Surveillance footage even picked up some strange images that might be evidence of Mr. One Way.
Okay, now that's the only thing is that.
What was the evidence there? The roll bar came back, or the crash bar? Because doesn't that happen when the guy in the seat next to? Aren't they all connected?
I think it depends on the ride. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going back to this. I'm not sure
of Mr. One Way.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure what evidence they think they're looking at.
Okay,
Let's see.
so the guy who's moving around in the center there, it's behind him, the seat behind him. That's supposed to be where Mr. One Way is, right?
Isn't it this guy right here?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
Yeah, that crash bar goes all the way across, though. See?
Yeah.
So I don't see what evidence they're talking about here.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that guy was getting at.
Yeah.
Don't let Clue hear you say that. Here.
Oh, I'm gonna say it all day, every day. He knows how I feel about that shit. Gingers only get freckles when they consume a new soul.
So I guess gingers are your arch nemesis, right?
No, I just understand what they are. Like, I don't hate gingers. I just know what they are, and they can't have my soul. See that?
So
they're like that La Llorona who's looking for children, except they're always looking for soul because they have none of their own.
So you've never been intimate with a redhead?
Didn't say that. My soul's intact.
Wait. How are you gonna say it? You said you ain't messing with them, but you messed with one. You're still here
No,
though,
that's
right?
not the same thing at all. Yeah, no, like I said, my soul is intact.
Not for lack of
They
trying,
can't have
right?
it.
She tried to suck the
Oh,
soul out of
yeah.
you, literally.
Yeah, among other fluids, yeah. Anyway, we don't need to go into that at all.
And then the other fluids were commingled with your soul.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, they
kind
do.
of what I'm getting at here, or what I was getting at earlier, D-Day. Also good to see you. Um, is this it's a bad idea to put women in a position where something like that's going to happen, because even if they don't get, like, you know, pinned down in the laundry room by a gang of dudes, which would be unfortunate and horrific, but a lot of these guys who are in jail are in there because they committed crimes, usually that they committed by being charismatic, by being, con men, essentially, right? It's just it's a bad idea, just in general, to have
And
women in that
unfortunately,
position.
with a lot of women, in general, that's what they're attracted to. They're attracted to the bad boy and all that stuff. I mean, you look at
Yeah.
shows like Life After Lockup. It's like some of them they keep going back and they don't learn their lesson. So, yeah, exactly, D-Day.
I might not have put it like that, but yes.
All right, so this is the one that kind of creeped me out a little bit. Now, I'm not sure if maybe the couple has some wire or something. I don't know what they did or what. And this may not be any kind of weird trick, but we'll see. So his wife and I, they got into an argument for no reason. After we left our room, something left our room. I thought it was a dust. I don't know what that means, but it appeared from nowhere.
Mm.
The very next day, we woke up happy and saying that we love each other. We cleaned the entire house. Later that night, this is what we caught on camera. So the chair starts rocking.
Okay.
I thought this is what the whole video was going to be. Okay, well, don't they have automatic rocking chairs out there that'll do that?
Yep. Well,
And then
looks
that
like
happened.
somebody wanted to put their feet up.
And something flew off the couch.
Yeah. That was a throw pillow.
Yeah, somebody threw it.
Yeah. Well, now that is not an optimal place to put your feet up, though. I don't know why you'd have moved that one again.
I don't know. Maybe whoever's rocking, maybe they were having tea or something. I don't know.
Thing is everything that we just saw on there could easily be accomplished with fishing line.
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
I'm not saying that, nothing happened. Maybe that's actual footage of something happening. Maybe it is. But given that angle and the distance from the camera and all of that stuff, that could easily have been done with fishing line. All of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the fact that the camera was moving the way it was, I was like,
Yeah.
Like Andy's saying, found footage horror flicks.
Yeah. Well, not even just that. Like, any half decent seance artist, like a medium or whatever, has all kinds of tricks and stuff secreted around the place to give the impression that things are happening that may not in fact be happening. I mean, the knocker under the door is like or under the table is like the classic thing. You hit it with your knee, it sounds like somebody's knocking. So yeah, there are 100 tricks going back hundreds of years that could explain everything we just saw in that video.
Yeah. I still didn't want to take any chances though. But but I suspect I think some fishing line was moved, and I think that was motorized rocking chair. That's what I think.
Mhm.
Maybe
Well,
some.
it doesn't have to be motorized. All I got to do is tie a line to it and have the string go to the next room. Have somebody in the next room just pull it a little bit. That's all it takes to get that motion.
Yeah, true. Maybe like off to the side somewhere where we couldn't see him. Have you heard about Houdini?
How young do you think we are? Yeah, we know about Houdini.
All right, here's next one. I don't remember what this one was about.
Have you ever heard about living people getting their freak on with a ghost?
Oh yeah, this was the Ghostbusters. This is why I said. That's why I told Andy. I said, "What do you mention Ghostbusters?"
The following information may surprise you. Well, I'm your friend Real Ghost Hunter 1, and this is
Nomitron.
I know me.
Nomitron. We told everybody. They know you're out of town, and I told them that you messaged me earlier, and that you wished everybody well, and that you missed us, and you can't wait to see us again, and maybe you'll let us know some of the things you've gone through that you're experiencing now, just hanging out, enjoying Florida, whatnot. But yeah, have fun. Next time you go, take Kohai with you.
is what my guide to the dark side of paranormal has to say. Although the idea of intimacy with a ghost seems laughable to most people, it says here that it's a real experience and has been well documented. But because it invites ridicule and jokes, most victims don't come forth with their story. You don't have to search too hard to find info on this. It's all over. And obviously, sometimes they don't even...
They got you on camera, Sam. Those look like tentacles in mid flap.
Need us. Here's another similar picture. I'll let you stare at that while I continue. It says,
yeah, that's you and La Llorona.
Here, the land of the dead offers little or nothing in the way of fleshly pleasures, such as eating, drinking, smoking, and physical pleasures. So when ghosts have the chance to visit the land of the living, they look for ways to indulge. Apparently, not having a body doesn't stop them if they find the right host. These randy encounters with ghosts range from being touched in an intimate way all the way up to doing the full act, including physical sensations and the big O. It's not surprising that most of these activities happen at night when the victim's laying in bed. Most of them are women who sleep alone. Now, you might be thinking about incubus and succubus, which are simply the male and female versions of demons which were never human. But that's not what we're talking about here. Or is it? The typical scenario is this. The victim will awake in the night to an invisible force pushing down on them or on the bed, and they feel invisible hands and a body upon them. They may see and smell the ghost, perhaps even feel the breath on their neck. The experiences range from being compassionate to an all-out unpleasant physical assault. Some victims feel that it's forced upon them, while others feel they have a choice whether or not to indulge. It says here that ghost intimacy is not always unpleasant, and some people secretly admit that they find it quite erotic. Let me know if this subject interests you. I've got 3 or 4 real stories to go along with it.
Well, first of all, if it's fun, it's not an incubus or a succubus. They're rape demons.
Okay.
Nothing about what they do to people is pleasant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Just don't get her don't get her pregnant, D-Day.
Yeah, she'll drown them in her tears.
Now, here's the last one. So this one, crazy things that kids say. Now, this is the longest video, 3 minutes and 32 seconds. I haven't watched it all the way through, so I don't know all the crazy, creepiest things the kids have ever said.
This is the one you had to quit watching before you freaked yourself out too much.
No, it was the other one that we just watched with the furniture. No, this one I stopped because it was getting close to showtime.
Creepiest things kids have ever said. A man's mother passed away in a car accident when he was 6. When his 2-year-old daughter saw a picture of her grandmother for the first time, she laughed. He asked, "What was so funny?" And she looked at him and said, "That's my special friend who sings to me." A man's 3-year-old daughter stood next to her
That's not
newborn brother
that's not
and
creepy
looked
at
at
all.
each
Hold
for a
up.
while.
Nothing about that's creepy. That just means grandma's looking out for a kid or a grandkid, rather. I don't see that as creepy at all.
He needs content.
And turned back to her dad
Okay.
and said, "Daddy, it's a monster. We should bury it." A woman and her 4-year-old son were waiting for their food at Panera.
What sister doesn't think her little brother's a monster? So even from birth.
Right. And
Now I was
there's kids say all kinds of shit, and sometimes the jealousy of not being the only child compels them to say some really awful shit.
yeah. Now I will say this, and I'm thankful. My kids, my son and my daughter, they love each other. My son is so protective of his little sister. But when we brought her home when we brought her home from the hospital, well, we can't. I had it with us. Put him in the car, right? And we had my daughter with us. When he saw us putting her next next to him in the car, he looked at us like, I know that this ain't coming with us, you know, because he kind of showed his butt a little bit. You know, he was worried about getting attention. But then all of a sudden, maybe he did it for maybe like the first 2 months, first couple of months, you know, he would kind of interact with her, you know, but he wanted to make sure that we still cared about him. And then all of a sudden, he started bringing toys to her, you know, and playing with her and sharing with her and stuff like that. And they're two peas in a pod now. So
The son started rubbing her belly and talking to it. She asked what he was doing, and he said that he was talking to the baby. She informed him that she was not pregnant, and then he said, "There is a baby in your belly. I just saw it crawl across the floor and climb up into you." A woman's 5-year-old asked her when he was going
Okay,
to
that's
be
creepy.
told. She told him in 18 years. He replied, "Well, I hope I don't die again, because that's how old I was last time I went to heaven." A family moved into a new furnished apartment with an unsettling painting in one of the bedrooms that looked like hair free flowing in the air. The 2-year-old son was being settled in for his daily nap when he suddenly said he didn't want to sleep in that room. Mom asked why, and he said, "The painting looks at me and tries to talk to me." A woman drove past a cemetery with her 3-year-old daughter in the back seat every day. The 3-year-old would tell her the people in there would wave to her. This went on for a while until the woman stopped driving past the cemetery forever when the daughter said a lady in there wanted her to come in. A 4-year-old girl would spend every day with her great-grandmother, and every time she went home, she would say, "God be with you." One time when she was leaving, she said, "Go with God." Her mom tried to correct her, but she said it again. That night, her great-grandmother passed away. A woman's 3-year-old son was softly singing while he was coloring. She had never heard the song before, and she asked him where he'd learned it. He said, "The lady in my bedroom sang it to me." A woman's mother was babysitting her daughter while she was at a doctor's appointment.
A lot
The
of
daughter
this is
said,
just
"Oh no, Grandma, Mama's not coming."
A lot of this is just, I mean, obviously sometimes kids say creepy shit, but the fact of the matter is that kids are more in tune with things than we are. We
yeah,
tend to
yeah, they
beat
are.
that out of our children, as a society. We disconnect from the spiritual at a very young age. It's expected of us to. Um, there's a perception there that adults don't generally share.
Mhm.
So a lot of this stuff, being like, creepy or whatever, I don't see it as creepy. I just see it as they haven't shut themselves off from it yet.
No, I get it, but it's just to adults it's creepy, and some of it is just stuff.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of fact.
Anymore
Yeah.
today. She was in a bad accident. The mother had been in an accident that almost killed her, and none of the family had yet to be notified. A woman was sound asleep when she was
Now I did that once. I was sitting with somebody, and I looked over, and I knew there was a guy that I knew she had a crush on, and I turned to look at her, and I said, "Hey, you need to call a hospital. So and so was just in a bad accident. He's in the hospital."
Mm.
And she was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she called, and sure enough, he was in the hospital. It just happened to him. He had just got in the hospital
I
maybe half
mean,
an hour before.
yeah,
I didn't know.
but I mean, there's a there's a level of intuition there, though. I've had to call people I hadn't seen in years because I got a feeling that something had happened to them.
Mhm.
And usually, yeah, something had, and it's not always lethal or hospitalizing or whatever, but yeah, there's, you know, You should listen to those feelings when they happen. Usually there's
Oh, I
some
do.
truth to them. Yeah.
I definitely
I
do.
know you do. I just like in general out there for those of you who are listening, you should absolutely listen to those feelings because odds are something inside you or outside of you is trying to tell you something, and you should probably listen up. D-Day, that's just cats being bastards. It has it. I know this probably doesn't occur to a lot of people. I know there are a lot of cat people out there, but when a cat does that and you get creeped out by them just doing that, has it ever occurred to you that maybe that's why the cat is doing it, just to be a dick and give you the willies?
Yeah.
Because I mean, if I were a cat, I would absolutely be doing that.
All right, let's get back to it.
Woken by her 4-year-old in the middle of the night.
Happy
She
birthday,
looked
Squatch.
right into her eyes and
Happy birthday, Squash.
whispered,
Don't take a bath with your toaster.
want to peel all your skin off. The woman had been sunburned recently and was starting to peel, but it's still absolutely terrifying. A family was driving down a dark, snowy highway late one evening. The son, who was 4 years old, was in the back seat when he suddenly covered his face with a blanket and announced loudly, "I don't want to get glass on my face." A few moments later, 2 cars in front of them crashed into each other, spinning out of control. Fortunately, the family avoided the incident and glass in their face. A woman's young daughter once asked if she could share her breakfast in bed with a dead baby in her closet. The mom thought she meant one of her dolls, so she went to pull one out. Until the daughter quickly said, "No, not a doll, the dead one that sleeps on the closet floor at night." The mom found her 4-year-old daughter in the bathroom with all of her Barbies, making them float face down in the bathtub. When mom asked what she was doing, she replied, "The man in the wardrobe told me if I didn't do it, it would be my turn to swim face down." A family had a cat that had stillborn kittens. The
Okay,
3-year-old
yeah,
son
that's
asked if they could make crosses.
That's that bitch needs to move. Take that kid and move.
He said, "It'll be good." Hey, that's like, hey, you'll float too.
Yeah,
down.
it's like if you don't put these dolls face down, you're gonna be face down. No, get out is what you need to do.
Yep.
For them. As he was making them, he asked his dad, "Aren't those too small?" "What do you mean?" And he said, "Aren't we going to nail them to them?" Dad, after several moments of silence, said, We're not going to do that."
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, man. A lot of that video was, just like kids being perceptive, really. But
yeah,
I don't know. The dude in the closet saying like, "Put your doll's face down, or I'll put you face down." Yeah, no, go, get away, get as far away as you can, because there's gonna come a point where she's gonna forget to put one of those dolls face down.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah,
but yeah, that is it, Sam. I think there is.
You might have to email me, Squatch. I'm not sure what you're talking about. So,
well, he's blasted right now. I left the stream with morons disgusting. Okay.
Yeah, it happens.
If he wants to talk about it, send him a. Does Squash have the link? You can talk to us backstage.
This link? No. Yeah, I'll email you a little bit, man.
Yeah.
We'll talk. So, but yeah, folks, I think that's about all the not hacking my lungs out all over the internet that I can handle for right now. So we're probably gonna bring it to a close.
Yeah. So for Sam today, I'll do the. I guess I'll do most of the outro. He can give his great. No, not tonight. No, Sasquatch. No, we're gonna give you the link so you can talk backstage after we leave, not public. Yeah, no,
don't worry about it. I'll get a hold of you later.
Yeah,
no, me. I'm still sick. I'm still recovering. So this is about as far as I can go for tonight.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But don't worry,
It is
we'll
what
be
it is.
back. We'll be back next week. And I'll hit you up with the details of what we have planned for next week, Miss Nomi. In the meantime, hey, enjoy the con, enjoy Florida. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And but you are a guy. Get some guys
Yeah.
get sick, Nomi.
Well, as it turns out, we can still get the sniffles.
Superman has kryptonite. Samuel has the flu. So
Yeah.
I'm drunk tonight, is honest. So, but yeah. Guys, thank you for joining us tonight. We actually went a bit longer than I thought. I wasn't sure we were gonna make it an hour, but we made it an hour 35 minutes in county. So, guys, I can't speak for tomorrow, but we will be here next week. Samuel, the infamous, and myself, Nomi, if she is available, she'll be here as well, I'm sure. And also, as far as a shameless plug, on my Knight's Lore channel, I will be releasing a short fiction that I finished. I'm adding some finishing touches to it, and stay tuned. I also have something else that I'm working on, and it is for the Storm City trailer that I kind of put out 2 weeks ago, and that is it, Sam.
Yep. So hopefully we will be back on schedule after this. I'm hoping that we can do Screaming Into the Void tomorrow. I mean, I know everybody else is up for it. I'm hoping that my voice is. And I will be running Star Trek Engage on Sunday, so we'll see how that goes. But at least I know that's not just me trying to talk at everybody. So that Anyway, so we should be back to regularly scheduled programming, barring unforeseen, events and such. I might, if I decide that I want to take the risk, I haven't decided quite yet. I might show up on Beelzebub in a few hours. We'll see how that goes. I might not too. I might just be like, fuck it, take some pills and go to sleep. It is what it is. But hopefully we're back doing regularly scheduled shit. Appreciate all of you guys coming. Thank you for putting up with the sound of my ravaged vocal cords. And yeah. So I appreciate all of you. Have a great night. And remember, it could always be worse. It could be raining flaming cobras. Night, everybody.
Night.
What is it?